Okay, we're here live from Idaho Falls at the Compass. We just finished out the Compass Academy, and here we have Garrett, right? We're going to ask Garrett a few questions about, this mayoral candidate. So, Garrett, from what you've seen so far, right? There's currently three candidates, right? But I'm not really interested in candidates. What I'm more interested in is what issue impacts you the most?
For Idaho Falls.
Yes.
So, for me, honestly, I think for Idaho Falls, it could be like the problem with parking and like stuff like that because I work in downtown and it's really hard to find a lot of parking somewhere, and I think that the parking that they have like on the streets, like with you can only park there on the weekends for free. I think that should be a little bit more lenient toward, you know, um, just more parking stuff like that. But yeah.
So, more like, let people live, right? You don't need to add more stuff to people just trying to make their days worth of living, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm on a weekend. I've worked all day. I've worked all week. I don't want to go to down to IF, right? Go downtown and suddenly have more things to worry about, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And another part is like when I'm working, and a lot of the time there's just a lot of cars and a lot of busy places, and there's also I think a problem with a lot of homeless people because when I in my work, there's a lot of people, just homeless people that bring like shopping carts around. I think that the streets should be just more cleared about that. Yeah, that's my opinion.
So, in your opinion, right, from this debate, which candidate do you think spoke to your needs the most tonight?
Me personally, I think Christian Ashcraft, he answered a lot of the questions very efficiently, and me personally, I just think that he would be a good candidate for the mayor.
Okay, thank you so much, Garrett.
Good night to meet you.
Okay. Okay, we're here right after the what's it called again? The Academy something? Compass Academy debate featuring Christian Ashcraft, Jeff Aldridge, and Lisa Burtonshaw. And with us today we have
Andrew White.
Andrew White. And we're just going to ask Andrew White a few questions about, this debate. So, Andrew, from tonight's debate, which issue do you think impacts you the most personally?
I think cost of living, most people would agree, is the biggest impact to them individually. That's bigger than just the city of Idaho Falls, it's national. And at the end of the day, people have to afford to have a roof over their head and food on the table, right? That's it.
I agree completely. Um, in your opinion, which candidate do you think has the most solid plan dealing with this rising cost of living?
It's hard to say. They all gave answers that were pretty well in alignment with each other. They talked about the city growing. I think economic opportunity and growth is probably the best way out of it, and they all spoke to that. I have some personal opinions on who might have the best option, but at this point, they're all sending the same message. So I think Idaho Falls is in a good position to improve there, but again, it's a bigger issue than just the city. There's only so much they can do, and the mayor is just at the end of the day a tie-breaking vote on city council. So you have to be realistic about what you can expect from the candidate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, one more question.
Sure.
Judging from overall all the candidates, who are you most likely to vote for this election?
I'm most likely to vote for Lisa Burtonshaw.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Hallie liked the comment.
Okay. Awesome. All right. We're here at the Compass Academy right after the debate, and we have with us Thomas Halley. Like the comment.
Yes, I like the comment, and I thought you wanted to, are you going to ask me some questions? I thought that it was good to
yeah.
have the information brought forward. There's a limited amount of time to express that, but I moved here in 1980, and I really thought Idaho Falls was kind of a dump. So I've seen the progress of the city. Traffic is going to be limited because of the canals, the railroad, and the river. You can't build bridges everywhere, so you can just improve the streets. There was a question regarding what we've done with the schools that was not, some of the answers could have brought up the fact that we've built pathways to the schools to make it easier to get to the schools, lighted flashing light crossing guards. so that the students can feel more safe around the schools. And we have uh, an agreement with the school districts to have inside the city that have resource officers, police officers in the schools that get to know the students. So we don't entirely dismiss the schools. You look at what we did on Memorial Drive. That used to be a parking lot with, and we've turned Memorial Drive and the river into a resource. We've in the city they've developed the belts along the river. They've cleaned it up around the river. It used to be junk around the river. It's now beautiful along the river. There's miles and miles of pathways. The golf courses pay for themselves now. They didn't used to pay for themselves. So there's a lot of good things that I've really enjoyed in the city, and the city definitely pushed for. We didn't participate, we didn't pay for it, but we supported the events center out there. So we got a professional hockey team that won a national title. I think our parks are real nice. We've gotten the Civic Auditorium. Frontier Credit Unions donated millions, and that's a work in progress now. And so I really see a lot of good things. And in the downtown, we have done good things. Parking is a problem, but the issue is the employees. There's a parking lot across the highway, and there is a lighted pathway guard with a flashing light. You push a button, and they could park over there and walk 2 blocks to their employment. And that's a little bit of a problem. But I go downtown, and I never have a problem. I go downtown all the time, and I find a parking place, the 2-hour limit. But the city participates with the Downtown Development Corporation. We put money into their budget so that the city can communicate with the downtown businesses to come to solutions about other things, plants, pathways, fixing corners up, and also the redevelopment plans for the city. That's a savings account, millions of dollars. When those close, millions of dollars go to the city budget, and those the biggest one, Snake River Landing, that closes in 28, and so that'll put $1 million or more into the budget into perpetuity every year.
Wow.
And so those are issues that sometimes get missed, and it's people that come from the outside, they refer to it as a beautiful city. Well, why is it a beautiful city? It would be my question. I think it's a pretty neat city. I think it's got growing pains, and the crime rate is the increase in crime. The crime rate with the population, like 17,000 more people in the last 5 years in Bonneville County, you're going to have more crime rate. And the more vibrant the economy is in a city, the more crime you're going to have in the city, because there are bad people out there.
Okay.
So,
All right. So, have these candidates have they shown you confidence that they can handle these problems?
well, I thought all the candidates for this showed pretty good understanding. Lisa Burtonshaw really has a lot of local experience all the way around, and she showed that. Her school board, she's been on the school board, been president of the school board. She's an engineer. She's been working with the city, and one of the big problems the city faces now, we own our own power. That's power company's owned by the city. The fiber optic network is paid for it isn't borrowed money, and so you have to have interaction within the city, control of the budgets. $390 million flows through the city one way or another. And so IT's been a big deficiency. You have to have, if you're all connected, you have to have a real good IT system because electricity is regulated at the federal level and they have a lot of rules and regulations. And so the city, I think, recently is allocating $5 million to improve their IT system because it's not sustainable the way it is now. So.
And given overall all these candidates and what they shared, who are you most likely to vote for this November?
Well, that's why I'm here, but I think I would probably lean towards Lisa Burtonshaw.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right.
You bet.
For a cat. What's it called again? What's this?
Mayoral form.
Mayoral forum, but at what? It's like
At
some
Compass Academy.
at Compass Academy. Compass Academy High School. Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So today we have Isaiah. Where this is right after the Compass Academy High School mayoral debate, in which Jeff Aldridge, Lisa Burtonshaw, and Christian Ashcraft had a debate in which many of the pressing issues faced by the citizens of Idaho Falls were addressed and answered. And here we have Isaiah, the moderator of this debate. How's it going, Isaiah?
It's going pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Being here on a basically, wow, it's 8:20. That's not exactly how I thought I was going to spend my Thursday nights, but it is what it is, right?
It's enjoyable.
So one of the few questions we have is, what got you into moderating, right? Well, and more specifically, what is this program at Compass Academy that allows for the political debates?
So it's just our regular English class, like you would see in the other thousands of high schools across America. Our English class, it's integrated with our government class, so we call it Govlish. It's just a mixture, and it helps bring together the concepts taught in government and the curriculum taught in English, and helps integrate them together to where you can find a better way to teach both of them.
Wow. Well, I know when I was in Virginia, we never had any political candidates show up at our high school, so it is what it is. Guess you guys do things a little bit differently around Idaho. So, more pressingly, right, is you basically listen to all these candidates, you gather all these questions, right? For you as a student here at Compass Academy, what issue is most pressing to you as an individual?
When looking at what issues were most pressing to me that we covered throughout the night, the question regarding the crime rate and how it's increasing in both adult and juveniles was definitely a very pressing issue on myself. And then the second most important question to me would probably have been the system about the education system and how I would enjoy seeing more political figures participating in education or advocating for students in the future of our country.
And with this crime rate, do you know it's per capita per 100,000, or is it just a raw number of crimes going up?
So it was a raw number of crimes throughout Idaho, specifically in Bonneville County and Idaho Falls in 2020 and then 2024. We looked at the, I think it was like the incident system reporting, something like that, incident reporting based system. And it's used for the entirety of Idaho. So the data there is published from the government, and that's what we found.
So in the last 5 years, crimes has noticeably gone up to the point where even the data is starting to reflect it, correct?
Yes, the data does reflect that crime has increased within the past 5 years.
Okay. So, I don't really know anything about civil engineering or like anything about infrastructure. I'm a communications major, right?
Yeah.
My homework is talk to 5 guys on the street or something, you know what I mean? So, in your opinion, what is the way forward for Idaho Falls?
When looking at Idaho Falls and how the way forward, I think that's just a lot of communication, a lot of working together between different departments and different people throughout the city. I think that's what will best set Idaho Falls up for all the growth that it's receiving.
And I don't know if you can vote, but if you could, right, who do you think would be your preferred candidate that fixes and addresses your issues?
That is definitely something I'd have to do a lot more research on, and like you've mentioned, legally I'm not old enough to vote quite yet.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Isaiah.
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to be like, hey, and like today we have, and you're going to answer your like name, right?
My name, okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're live. This is right after the mayoral debate at the Compass Academy High School, and today
Josh Golden.
we have Josh, and we're going to ask Josh a few questions about what he heard today, what he plans on doing with what he heard, and who he might support or endorse. This election. Okay, Josh, from this debate, which was the most pressing issue for you?
For me, the most pressing issue is the housing. I mean, I'm actually in real estate, so I see it every day, all the time. I see the younger families struggling to buy a home. And so it's a very real situation that I deal with personally, and I feel like addressing the single-family housing and helping the younger generation, the newlyweds and the younger families actually build wealth and invest in themselves instead of just renting and getting stuck in that is one of the biggest priorities that I see the cities needs to address better.
That's definitely a big problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I come from Richmond, Virginia. We have about 700,000,
Oh, yeah?
so about 10 times the amount of population of Idaho Falls. So our cities are a lot denser. We have a lot more public transportation. And from what I've seen, Idaho Falls is kind of transitioning from the small town into more like Richmond. And do you support that? Do you want the character of Idaho Falls to change into this more urbanite city?
I feel like Idaho Falls. We need to try to maintain some of the small town feel that Idaho Falls is. There are some beautiful things about Idaho Falls and what it's been that we need to strive to maintain. But we also have to realize that's one of the reasons why so many people are moving here is because it is an amazing place to raise your family. It is a great place to live, and we've kept it secret for a long time, but now it's out, and so we have to be smart and strategic about. Okay, how do we grow? Because it's coming whether we like it or not. And if we do it right, it'll actually be a benefit to the long-time residents and the new coming residents as well.
Okay. So from all three candidates that showed up tonight, who do you think addresses the issue the best?
I definitely think Jeff Aldridge addresses the issues the best. First and foremost, because I know he's taken the time to dig into all of the different issues that are going on. He's met with all the different department heads and spoken to each one of them individually. He knows what is working for them. He knows what's frustrating them. And so he's done his due diligence to understand what the city needs, so he has a good plan going forward.
And who do you think you're going to vote for this election, given this debate and what's come before?
Definitely Jeff Aldridge, 100% my vote.
Okay. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, we're live. This is right after the debate at the Compass Academy High School, and we have John Radford of the City Council of Idaho Falls. How's it going, John?
Good. It's a good night. We unfortunately in City Council we govern to empty rooms most of our meetings. So when we see public come out and be interested in these questions, we love it. And we finally get some feedback. We get to hear what people are thinking.
So, from my knowledge of the City Council and what I've heard, right, is that I heard during the COVID-19 times, there was a period in which it was a lot more difficult for the citizens of Idaho Falls to reach and talk to the City Council. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think like anything in that period, it was certainly that way, right? But after things opened up, like every meeting, so we meet twice a month on Thursday nights at 7:30, and someone can come and talk for 3 minutes, right? And it's really, if you have something you're worried about or something you're thinking about that you want fixed, that very thing gets so much attention because almost no one comes and uses it, and we have all the directors of the city, and they all come and they're there listening. So if you have an issue, that's a great opportunity. But one thing that I hope that will happen, because we've been trying to figure this out for a while, things like just having a booth at the farmers market, just to sit there and have us and some other directors there maybe on a Saturday so we can just listen and then give them feedback. One of the problems with that 3 minutes at the front is we don't talk back and forth.
Right.
We only listen. So we can't answer or help them,
Right.
And so often we need to be able to talk back and help them and say, hey, this is the person you need to get to. This is who you should talk to in the city. So I would like to have one more meeting a month and just have it where everyone, the agenda item is talk with the city council. We're all there, and they can come to the podium just like they would the other nights, but then there's back and forth.
Right.
We can't make decisions that way because if you have that kind of back and forth when you're making decisions, it gets angry and it can be ugly. So you need decorum during decision and votes. But I think once a month have that at least, so we have that feedback back and forth.
So, John, in your opinion, as a resident of Idaho Falls, not as a city councilman,
You bet.
what do you think is the most pressing issue that was addressed today?
Well, the thing that was talked about, there's two things. We need people to be able to live in the city, they work in the city, or else our economics don't work. And affordable housing, and I don't mean like for people that are living in crisis, I mean just affordable housing for people who make enough money. If someone makes $70,000 or $80,000, but they're paying 60 or 70% of their income a month in housing, guess who loses? Everyone, because now businesses don't have people coming, like you're not going out to the restaurant because you got to save all your money to pay your rent. And so a city that is thriving has the right price for housing. And the problem is city government doesn't get to affect that lever. The market does that in America, which is what we all believe in, right? But what we can do as a city government is make sure that we can bring people together, like developers and other people, to see where are the hiccups. Where have we stopped you from getting more housing out there? And the other thing that I'm really interested in is what regulations are onerous. Like in the International Fire Code, if you want to open a restaurant and have a oven with a stovetop, it's $84,000 to put a hood that has a fire suppression system in the modern International Fire Code. So starting a restaurant, you need $84,000 just to put a range in. Some of the regulations have become so onerous that people can't take risks. They can't find a way to make extra dollars. And so that's true of our housing. What is it? One, I'm not the expert, but I know that people are working on this very issue, that regulations are making housing so expensive that then we can't afford to live in them. One example is the basement windows, where the fire code says you have to build them big enough for a whole person to walk out, right? But it sounds like throughout history in the United States, there's been less than 200 deaths total ever with that problem. So they're adding $20,000 to every house to put those windows in. Is that the right thing for that number of deaths?
Right.
You want to be as safe as you can, and we could make them bigger, but not so big. So those kind of things need to happen on a macro scale to help too with the cost of housing.
Right.
And then we need to have enough inventory. It's a market force. And unfortunately, you got to build houses to have more houses, and people don't love that we're doing it in density in apartments. But truthfully, that is the more efficient way to get it done quickly. And let's be honest, single-family houses right now are so expensive, and banks are not happy to loan to developers that are building single-family because it's impossible for them to make their money back. At $3,500 a month for a mortgage, there just isn't enough people to buy them. So if you build a bunch, they'll sit, and then the bank could lose their investment.
Right.
So the market will swing back around though, because 4 years ago we were building 400 single-family homes a year, and now we're building 60. So that's a huge difference, but it will swing back when interest rates go down and some of those things.
And we've asked this is our last question. We've asked this of everyone who we've interviewed. Who do you think you are going to vote for this fall?
For me, it's all the incumbents, right? That's who I serve with. And so, yeah, it's not a surprise for me. But I love that everyone's out talking to them and they're hearing what's going on. And the truth will be that we'll be better because of this election, because there was a dialogue. Because the past few elections, there's been little interest, and there hasn't been as much dialogue. So there's been great feedback for us, like those meetings I talked about. That might not have happened had this not happened. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Ask you about like your names and stuff, and then we'll go from there, right? Okay. All right, we're live. So this is right after the debate at Compass Academy High School, and we're really grateful to have
Hunter Winterbottom,
Allie Adams.
with us to, talk about it, right? So, Hunter, Allie, from what you've seen so far of this debate, right? Which issue is the most important to you?
The most pressing issue to me would be the lack of transparency between the local government and the citizens. I feel like the citizens have this idea that a lot of what the government wants to do is wrong or against the people's wishes, and the government feels like they have a lack of communication from the people. And so I feel like the government bridging the gap between all demographics in the community is the most important thing they can do, because a big issue is that people here in town don't feel like they can trust the government, and they can't put a face to the people who are making these laws and policies for them.
Okay.
I feel as if the biggest issue during this debate was when a candidate was asked a question, they got very off topic. There was a lack of understanding from their perspective. And I think that there's a lack of care for issues that actually matter to the people.
Right. I think that's definitely an issue too, kind of like everywhere, right? You know, you talk about one thing, suddenly they're bringing up like, I'm not going to say, I was going to say something about biking, but not today. But from what have you seen so far, right? Which candidate do you think addresses your personal problem the most?
So I have a toss-up really between the two. So Christian and Jeff are the two that I really lean towards. I feel like they are newcomers that are younger and can provide a much fresher insight to how the people feel, and they have opportunities to be much more connected with the public because of that. And I feel like they are unaffected by previous situations in the government, whereas a candidate like Lisa has already been involved and had opportunities to address a lot of the issues that are, pressing everybody. And so I'm kind of tossed up between those two, but I feel like we need a new set of ears and eyes and hands in the city.
I feel as if we've seen a lack of action from Lisa on city council, and personally I think Jeff Aldridge is the best fit for mayor.
Okay. So from, your responses, right, it sounded either like Jeff or Christian. So that leads us to our last question. If you could vote, right, who would you vote for this November?
Well, if I could vote, and I can, I'm honestly leaning towards Jeff. I'm going to be honest. I feel like he has a strong foundation and good ideas, and I'm all in, and I'm all in on supporting him. So,
Vote Jeff for IF.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
thank you.
All right, we're live. So this is right after the Compass Academy debate featuring Jeff Aldridge, Lisa Burton-Shaw, and Christian Ashcraft. And we're still interviewing people. Okay, so, and today, right now, we have...
Hi, my name is Gabe Golden.
Okay, so, Golden, we're so grateful that, you were able to, stop and, give us this interview, right?
Yeah.
And from what you've seen, what you've heard,
Yes.
what do you think is the most impactful issue for you this election?
Okay, for me, it would have to be affordable housing because as of right now, we can't afford to live. Frankly, we can't afford to live in these houses right now. And even the rent for the apartments is ridiculous. There's an apartment complex over in Idaho Falls where it's $3,000 a month, and I can't afford that.
Right.
As a 23-year-old guy, I cannot afford that. And so, for me, the biggest thing for this election is being able to get affordable housing that I can afford, and I can actually create a family and put roots down. Because if I don't have that, then I'm gonna have to go somewhere else.
No one wants to spend $2,000 a month to something they're not even going to start owning.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I $2,000 a month. That's like 50-60% of my income, and I have to afford, and I can't afford groceries or car payment or anything. That's not a way to live.
And from this debate, who have you seen that really addresses your concerns the most? It could be from this debate or previous debates.
So I've been following this mayor's race quite a bit. I personally cannot vote in this race because I live in Bonneville County, but the person that I believe is able to fix this the quickest and has the best solution is Jeff Aldridge, because he gets it. He has looked at the plan that the city has put forward and is seeing that it doesn't help people put down roots. It's great for those who are wanting an apartment, but for the rest of us that want to actually live here and put some equity into this place, it doesn't work. And so he has a diverse solution for this, including the townhomes and the duplexes and the single-family homes. Like, we can't just have like apartments and then a few single-family homes. Like, we need to be able to diversify the housing market, because as of right now, we can't afford anything.
So that actually brings up a great point, because previous interviews we had with Councilman John Hitchcock, he had the statistic where they were building about 400 single-family households before,
Yeah.
but now they're only building about 60, and the rest are, these like apartment complexes. How do you feel about that?
I'm saddened because, I mean, we had a golden opportunity when COVID hit. Like, the reasoning why people came to Idaho is because they were fleeing, frankly, the tyrannical governments of Oregon, of Oregon, California, and Washington, and they came here looking for a place to be able to raise a family. And as of right now, they can't do that because they can't afford to get a home. And so, the fact that it's dropped off so much, as far as like the fact that we were doing 400 homes back in like 2020, and now we're down to 60, it's sad. It's frankly, it's sad.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.